All right, I think we are going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Benson. I am president of Maple Leaf Community Council. First, just want to welcome everyone for taking the time out tonight and coming. We got a great list of people here to kind of update all the great things that are happening in the neighborhood. Just want to give you all a heads up. We are recording this so that we can share it out on our social and our website later. So just giving you guys an update on that. Before we get started into this, just going to kind of go around of the board members that are here, just kind of give everyone an update. I think the last time we had one of these, we did not have some of these spaces, so I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Alex. I've been in Maple Leaf now for, I believe now it's been a little bit over 4 years, and I've been on the board coming up on 2 years next month. My kind of responsibilities here obviously are this kind of chair over all of this stuff, helping make sure that we are getting stuff done. I also help out on the outreach committee, helping us kind of find ways to get more in touch with all of you. Scott, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you.
Hi folks, my name is Scott Andrews. I've been the treasurer of the community council and a board member for coming up on just over 3 years. I'm a 17-year resident of Maple Leaf.
Thanks, Scott. I'm Matthew. I'm the new guy. I've been in the Maple Leaf neighborhood less than a year, and joined the board less than a couple of months ago. I've been helping with communications and note-taking, and getting more involved in making sure that we do communications in a lot of different ways. So happy to be here and here to learn as well.
Okay. Let's see. So I'll go next. My name is Kim Romano, and I swapped palm trees for maple leaves when I moved here almost 2 years ago from Key West, Florida. And I joined the board last December, and I serve on the communications committee, and that's what I'm supposed to tell you about right now. The goal of that committee is to keep the website updated and social media updated. But in order to do that, we really need to know what you want to hear about. Like, what issues do you think need our community's attention? So please let us know. And you know what else we need? We need more members on this committee. We need you and your children to make TikTok videos and content for an Instagram account. It would probably serve as towards community hours. So I think it would be a win-win, don't you? In a survey we distributed a few months ago, we asked how you'd like to be contacted, and an overwhelming number of you said it was that email was your first choice. And that's great, but guess what? It's embarrassing to tell you how few email addresses we have. So I need you to please send us your email address, okay? Let's bump it up, and you just send it to hello@mapleleafcommunity.org. That's it. Thank you. So TJ or Johnny will be next. Right.
Leave Johnny and TJ to step away.
I think Johnny's in kid duty at the moment.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead.
I guess that's.
Go ahead, Scott.
So that means I'm up for a little business, the business committee. Johnny and Lauren Finlayson, they've been members of the community about 5 years. They've been on the board for 2, and they share a seat, and they're currently dealing with their 2 little kids. So that's why they're not on screen with us right now. And Johnny was going to give us an update on the business committee, which works to connect with businesses in the Maple Leaf community and those businesses that do a lot of work inside Maple Leaf, and work with those folks to say, how do we make this a better place for those folks to have an effective business presence and to connect businesses. One of the things that's going to happen here really shortly is a change in our business membership pricing. And that pricing is going to change to $100 for the basic business membership, which includes a window cling and website promotion, and $200 for a window cling mentioned on the website and in the newsletter, social media presence during the year, and a table at the summer social. And just to put that in perspective, a table at the summer social is $100. So we're looking forward to rolling that out in mid-May. And anybody who's currently a member at the old membership rates, your membership will just continue through the year as a business member. So thanks. And I think it's over to TJ, who I don't think we have here yet.
No, but I can speak for TJ. So TJ is working with me on the outreach committee. So big thing there is just events like this and other ways that we're looking to connect with all of you. And so we'll be looking to do that, as well as ways to work with getting more people involved with some of the events that we have going on. So. I think that covers all the intros, Scott.
Okay.
Move on. Do you want to pull up the membership slides, and I can talk a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, let's go there.
Awesome, thank you. So as all of you know, this is a volunteer-led board. We all donate our time and kind of show up to help make some of the stuff happen. And a lot of it is not just hours, it's also money that helps make a lot of this stuff happen. I think some of the things you're going to hear about tonight that we're excited to have happen just kind of take all of us to help make happen. So I know I see more than a few of you on here that are already members, so thank you. But if you aren't already, feel free to head over to mapleleafcommunity.org/membership and sign up. So 1-year membership, and it makes a lot of this stuff possible. Additionally, Scott, if you want to go over to the committees, you've heard a little bit about those. One of the things we're trying to do more of this year that we've than previous years has really been to try to get just more connected with all of you and make more stuff happen. So we have stuff like the summer social that we have. Kim's going to give us an update, but Kim has a wonderful group of people working on getting the summer social set up. We have Billy here as well, who's also running stuff in the events committee, both for the summer social, I believe, and for the movie in the park. So big things there. And when Scott gets this slide up, you'll see there's other ways for us to also connect. So things like we've heard tonight, like connecting with businesses, doing neighborhood outreach, communications, those types of things. So if you're interested in doing any of those things, definitely reach out. I think we've dropped the email in the channel here or in the chat here. So definitely reach out. We're looking to do a lot more with all of you here soon. I believe, Kim, we have you up next for summer social update.
Okay. All right. So I know what you're all thinking. And yes, we are going to have a summer social this year, but much more importantly than that, there will be ice cream, specifically 3,000 ice cream sandwiches donated by Maple Leaf Ace Hardware and 3 different stations. So there's a really good chance that you won't have to wait in line for them. For those who may not have heard of this, the Summer Social is a huge free and public party in Maple Leaf Reservoir Park featuring said ice cream. And most importantly, it's the chance to make post-pandemic connections with old and new members. You may ask yourself, well, how am I supposed to meet anybody if I just go to this? Somebody needs to be muted because I need to be heard. So make sure you're muted, okay? Okay. Okay. So we have an answer for how you're going to meet people in the park, because we're going to make a bingo card filled with questions that you have to go up to strangers and ask them to fill it out. And once you do, you get a prize at the end of it. We'll have children's games and face painting and live music. But this year, we'd like to add a pet photography portrait station, soul line dancing, and a communal art wall on which everybody can draw pictures and write about what they love about Maple Leaf. We're also having an art contest for Maple Leaf artists of all ages to design the t-shirt that everybody will be wearing at the event. The rules are on our Facebook page right now. And I have to say, I would love to personally take credit for all of these ideas, but I hit the jackpot with the people who volunteered for the planning committee. Stefan Hirschelman and Billy Thompson are 2 that could attend this meeting. And I would like them right now to wave at the screen, because I want you all to know who they are so you can thank them at the end of this when you realize what a great job they've done. And that brings me to my two final points, and that has to do with volunteers. We are going to need a lot of help pulling this off. By May 1st, there's going to be a sign up genius that you can get on the Facebook or the website. And it's going to list all the tasks that we need to accomplish. But finally, and this is the most important thing, if you remember nothing of anything I've said throughout this whole meeting, this is the most important thing, that historically I've heard that this event generates the highest number of household memberships. And that's great, believe me, and I'm sure you'll get hit up to join when you go there. But because we weren't that active last year, we really need your money now. Like, we don't want to wait until July 19th. So if you want this party to be a rousing success, I really want you to sign up now. And I said before, I wasn't going to mention the pitiful number of email addresses we had, but this is even worse, because out of 5,000 households in Maple Leaf, there are 75 members. Like, this is just not right. We have to step this up. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to contact us, hello@mapleleafcommunity.org, and become a member. It's $25 per person, $40 for a family, and $5 per student or senior. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at this event. Okay, what was that? Did someone want to add something? Because I'm finished. Thank you.
Scott, you're up next.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Scott France. I'm the president, one of the owners of Macrina Bakery. I just wanted to thank him and Scott and on the council for inviting me to join today. We're super excited to open up our sixth cafe, the corner of 85th and Roosevelt there, right across from the park. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about Macrina, how we started, who we are, and then show some renderings of what the cafe is going to look like, and then we'll answer some questions at the end if there are any. So this is our 30th year anniversary. We started back in 1993 by Leslie Mackey, our founder, with a single cafe in the Belltown neighborhood down on First Avenue, which is still there. I was just there yesterday. So Leslie's a renowned baker and chef, and one of the nicest people you will ever meet. She'll be up at the cafe a bunch when we get open, and still works to represent Macrina in our community, develop new products, ensure we're meeting quality standards, and does all of those kinds of things. So we're super excited to be opening up a cafe on our anniversary year. Today, Macrina is a little bit bigger than one, and we can stick with that mission and core values page there, Scott. And we talk a lot about community. We talk a lot about our mission and our core values. Our mission is to enrich our communities through the joy of artisan baking. And our core values are embracing diversity, integrity in all we do, continuously improving, hardworking, and remaining positive. We produce what we call our community report, our annual community report, and you can see our winners from last year's report on the screen. And what we tell people who are working for us, who want to work with Macrina, is that this is really a pathway to success. If these values and this mission resonate with you, then you'll be super successful at Macrina. And we try to live these every day. So some of the communities we talk about on the next page are our employee community. This is a little bit outdated. We're almost back to 300 employees. This is still a little bit less than pre-COVID, but pretty close, which we're super excited about. COVID was super challenging, as you might expect, and it feels like we're coming out the other end, albeit things are still super exciting. They're super expensive in terms of flour and butter and eggs, as I'm sure all of you know. But almost 300 employees representing 12 different countries, and lots of different languages are spoken. Diversity is part of who we are, and we offer lots of really great benefits that we encourage people to participate in, because we know that when they do, that they're going to be with us for a long time, and we try to encourage that long tenure as much as possible. So we have two customer communities on the next page. The first one is our cafe community, our retail community. You can see that when we produced this report last year, we had just signed the lease for Maple Leaf, so we put that front and center. And over our 5 cafes, and then Maple Leaf will be our 6th, we had about almost 500,000 transactions back in 2021. We're open in our cafes every day, but Christmas, Thanksgiving, and July 4th. Every other day we're open. And even when the weather's not great, we try to get open because we know that we can be a respite for our communities that we're in. So super excited to have another cafe on that little map. Our other customer community is our wholesale customers. So in addition to our cafes, we deliver fresh breads and pastries to an area that covers Everett to Tacoma and North Bend to Poulsbo. And we go out in 20+ vans every day but Christmas Day to lots of restaurants, grocery stores, other cafes, hotels, lots of other businesses that need fresh breads and pastries. Our big bakery is down in the Kent-Tukwila area, and we moved down there in 2016. It used to be right next to our Soto Cafe, but we had some space issues and had to find a little bit bigger space. So, the last community I want to talk about is just the organizations that we support on the next page. We categorize these into organizations that kind of represent our commitment to embracing diversity, one of our core values, kind of the baking and food realm, and then just local organizations or institutions that we think are doing great work or are in our neighborhood communities of our cafes. So all of these are doing really cool things. And this doesn't even count all of the breads and pastries that we donate on a daily basis, the cakes that we donate to different auctions and those kinds of things that happen literally every day of the year. So that's a little bit about who Macrina is, how we started. And then we have a few pictures, renderings, I guess, they're not pictures, but the architect put together a few things of what the cafe is going to look like. The colors will be a little bit different than these, but you can see the outside. So this is looking at the southeast corner of the cafe. If you've been by, you've seen all of these where the windows are on this picture are all opened up right now. So working hard. And then on the inside, we have a couple different pictures of kind of the colors and where the seating will be. If you don't remember the previous space, there's 2 levels. So there's a higher level back where the kitchen and counter will be where you order, and then the lower level will be where all the dining is. So if you've ever visited our Aloha Cafe, we certainly started with that picture in our head and tried to make it extra special, and then also open up many of the doors and walls to let a lot of natural light into the space, which is on the south side of the building. So will be super cool. Yeah, that is basically what the cafe is going to look like, and what I wanted to share. Happy to take any questions. First, though, just on a side note, I want to let you know we're not technically, my family and I don't live in the Maple Leaf neighborhood, but we're about 10 minutes away, and we've been in this house since 2021. And we have 2 kids. One is a 7th grader at X9, the other is a freshman at Roosevelt. So it feels very much that Maple Leaf, even though isn't exactly where we live, is part of our community and close to our neighborhood, and we're by that park all the time. So super excited to have a cafe close to where I am right now.
Well, Scott, I think you get an honorary membership by being, business closely located, so you're all set there.
Sounds great.
Alex, where are we going next?
Could I just ask a question? Did you already say the date? Like, do you know when exactly you're going to open?
It is, we don't have an exact date, but it's going to be, I think, the last week of June.
Great,
So
great.
I was
That's
hoping it would be the
wonderful.
week before that, but it's already been pushed a little bit due to some things that we found once we opened up some of the walls. So I think it'll be before the end of June.
That's great. Good. Thank you. Thanks.
I was a little bit late. I was waiting to get a link. So you may have already addressed it, but I'm just curious, like, how have you guys navigated being so close to other coffee shops or other little cafes in the same area?
I haven't addressed it. We haven't had a chance to talk to any of the other local folks. In general, we do have a wholesale customer that's just a little bit a ways away, and we've talked to them. In general, our perspective is that the Maple Leaf neighborhood has lots of residents in a local feel, and if we can bring more people to the area, that will help kind of everybody. I think there's room for more restaurants too. I mean, I think if you look at how Project 9 has done, there's clearly a demand in the local area for folks like that we have to offer. But I haven't had a chance to talk to the local cafes. I have been in touch with, obviously, the Reservoir Bar, who's right next door to us, and St. Catherine School, who is our neighbor on the west side of the space, and have met with both of those folks, but haven't ventured out beyond that.
If there's any more questions, definitely drop them in the chat. We'll make sure that Scott gets those, and we'll reach out as well with follow-ups. Moving to Billy to give us some updates on kind of a sequel to last year's movie in the park.
Hey folks, sorry, no visuals. You can just, I guess, look at me wiping some drool off after staring at those photos of Macrina Bakery coming to town. I think I speak for all of us that we're very excited to have you. So thanks for sharing that. Yes, I'm Billy Thompson. I ran the Movies by the Tower event last summer. Just here to give you some updates. So Scarecrow Video reached out as they are moving away from their Fritz Hedges Park series. Unfortunately, it's just logistically not possible to continue, but as the saying goes, their losses are gains. So they proposed doing the 4-night series here in Maple Leaf. So we're moving ahead with that in August. It's going to be on Saturdays. The dates being August 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. Movies starting at sunset. So we have the movies picked out and there's a theme, but we're securing the licensing currently. So we'll let everybody know once we get that nailed down. One change from last year is the location. For those who attended, you remember the location was up on the upper park. And there were a few drawbacks to that. Since it's a water reservoir, we couldn't have the generator close to the screen, no vehicles, no portable restrooms nearby, and the sound kind of carried around the park. So this year we are approved to have the event at the lower park. So the giant inflatable screen will be located near Maple Leaf Field, Baseball Field 1, which is the one closer to the playground and the bathroom. So that's nice also, with seating available in the outfield of Playground 1. So it's like right down the third base line there. It's also nice because the sun won't ever be directly right behind the screen, and it'll also be darker sooner just with that lower location. So because Seattle here, it's nice, but it's sunset is so late. So any angle or advantage we can take, we're gonna definitely accept. So what's happening next? So the total cost of the event is going to be about $10,000. Scarecrow is applying for a grant and is most likely able to cover half of it. And so that covers the movie licensing, the screen rental, projector, audio, and the Maple Leaf Community Council kindly offered to cover the event insurance, which is huge. So what is next is fundraising. So pretty much like what Kim said, like last year, I'll be reaching out to businesses in the community for sponsorships. So yeah, anybody here who knows businesses or individuals interested in participating again this year, please reach out to me at moviesbythetower@gmail.com, or most likely I'll just be kind of hitting the bricks again, or hitting the street and glad handing the locals, just seeing who's interested. One other thing, we'd also like to secure some food options this year. So yeah, again, if anybody knows anyone interested in having a presence at the event, that'd be great. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, also volunteers as well. Scarecrow said if we get 4 volunteers per event, that'd be great. So yeah, if anyone has, say, teens, those teen volunteer hours, it's only about 5 hours total from setup to takedown. Yeah, just reach out to me at moviesbythetower@gmail.com, and yeah, I'll throw it in the chat.
Thanks, Billy. We'll be sharing more of that over social as we kind of move along. If you are interested in helping out, and we can also connect you with Billy, we're working closely with him as as he works on this, and we're excited to partner again. So glad that, as he said, their loss is our gain. So we're going to have a awesome summer full of events here in Maple Leaf. Matthew, there you are. You ready to kind of give an update for Blue Kettle?
I will. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Blue Kettle Books. So Monica Lemoyne is the owner. She was going to speak tonight, but she wasn't able to be here. So I'm going to do my best to speak on her behalf. So many of you might have seen the little truck that they have. It's a Blue Kettle portable bookstore. It'll pop up in I know Lake City days and all around the area. It's locally owned. They have they're not a brick and mortar store, but they have a place on 94th and Roosevelt that they use for storage. They do open up one day a month. I think upcoming, they're going to open up. It's usually Fridays, like Friday, May 7th. I believe they're going to be open for people to come in. You can browse books in there. I have browsed books in there and have been inside the van, and it's really nice. Like I said, it's curated, it's independent. They are looking for a partnership with a local business. They'd like to be able to open up someplace locally in one of the parking lots or spaces, probably from like 10 to 2 on a Saturday or something once a month. So they're looking to have something local once a month in the community as well. But like I said, they're locally owned, they have local presence, and they're glad to be here. And if you have questions or I want to know when when you can talk to Monica directly, I'm sure we can follow up with her. All right, it's my quick
Awesome.
update.
Thanks, Matthew. And one more local business we're going to give an update for. I will drop in here real quick. If anyone's familiar, if anyone came last year to this community meeting around this time, we had Joe from the development that's going up near 89th and Roosevelt come and give us some updates. He had planned to come tonight, but he had some conflicts that we can get out of, so we can give an update too. Scott, I don't know if we have those new photos that we can pull up.
We don't have them. He didn't send them to us.
Okay, I have some here I can share real quick.
Yep, go for it.
Okay. So yeah, if you are in that area, you might be familiar that there has been a lot of work going on. I live just down the street from it, so I'm very familiar. Scott, I'm not able to share, but we'll put it up on social for you guys later. But it has been going up pretty quickly. Joe wanted everyone to know that they're planning on that being done here in a little while. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the actual notes, and that they are still looking for people to fill the vendor spaces in the retail location below. So if you know anyone or interested, definitely reach out to us and get you connected with him. Yeah, that's good there. Do we have an update from Ann Kim?
Kim, you're on mute.
Is Anne on this meeting? Because she has her update, but I think we're a little early for Anne, so I don't have her update.
Ann was going to be with us at 7:40, right?
Yes, I can give you the gist of what she was going to say in a nutshell is
Well,
that
why
we
don't-
need to,
Kim,
yes,
why don't you wait? Let's go
Okay.
to 7:40 and let Ann have a chance. Let's
Okay.
open the floor and see if anybody has questions for any of the other board members or any of the committees. And let's just go, if you have some questions, just use
just
the,
make up questions because we need to fill up the space and the time. So just come up with some questions, okay? So it's not so awkward, okay?
When are the elections for this board?
Well, that's a
mean-
hard question. I don't want hard questions, whoever that was. No,
Elections
I
for
don't
the
know.
board?
I don't know the
or
answer to that.
Any elections for the board, or like times to join the board, just so I can understand the question better.
Are you taking, or do you have elections for the board?
Got it. So like elections in terms of like voting people onto the board.
Yes.
Alex, let's address this question by just addressing in general, how does someone
Yes.
become a board member?
Yeah, perfect.
So,
Scott,
Annie,
I'm gonna
thank
turn to
you.
for, yeah, thank you. I know, Scott, we have those bylaws that we were talking about, so I might turn to you at that point. But in general, when you would love to join us on the board, we have our board meetings every month. That's generally us making sure that groups that are putting things on, like the summer social, or planning events like this, have the support they need and are, getting things done. And then we're there to help kind of provide any other resources that are needed. If you're interested in joining, you can reach out to us at hello@mapleleafcommunity.org, and we can get you invited to join us to kind of understand kind of what you're interested in helping out on. And then from there, we invite you to a couple board meetings. I think the requirement is attending 2 board meetings. And if you're still interested in joining at that time, the board votes new members on at the end of the second meeting. Scott, do you want to add anything as it pertains to like the bylaws and stuff?
Yeah, we're actually in the process. So how to become a board member is outlined in our current bylaws, which say that we will have an election in the spring for new board members. We have, during the pandemic, kind of suspended that because we weren't doing meetings face to face. And we've also looked at our bylaws and said, we really need some bylaws that reflect who the community is now and how we as a community can better support and encourage this community. So we're in the process of drafting and approving a new set of bylaws, and we expect that to happen over the next 4 to 6 months. We're not in any rush. The old ones still kind of work. The new ones will be in place. So there'll be more information about that. But in all of them, they say that there are 2 paths. One is to be elected, and the other is to say, hey, I'm interested. And if there are open board seats, someone can attend 2 meetings and join the board. The board also has the ability to select, encourage, and ask to join the board for ex officio members who take an additional seat on the board for a specific purpose. So as an example, one of our board members is Michaela Wingard Phillips, who is connected to Math and Stuff. And her family has been here and part of the business community in Maple Leaf for many, many years. Michaela was for a very long time a non-voting business ex officio member. And under the new bylaws, Michaela would become a voting ex officio member, not someone elected, but someone asked to join the board by the board for a specific purpose and a specific set of tasks. So that's something that will happen. Does that answer your questions, Anne?
Yes, but I have a follow-up question,
Yeah,
which
great.
is when will there be a return to in-person meetings?
I'm going to go out on a limb because the board has not said yes. And I'm going to say we're going to return to a partial in-person and partial electronic in the fall, since we don't normally have a meeting other than the summer social. Well, that's not really a meeting in the summer.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that, and just to answer that too, one of the things that we're taking on right after this is starting to get the planning put together for that. I know some of the older, I joined during the pandemic, but talking to a lot of the old board members who are on here, I think I see Jason on here as well. Some of the complaints that kind of happened in the past was some of the locations were a little inaccessible for some people. And so what we're trying to make sure is that in this new kind of world that we now live in, where I don't think I even had a webcam 4 years ago, and now this is normal.
you live by it.
Yeah. We want to make sure we can actually reach everyone. And so we're looking forward to the opportunity to kind of do that hybrid kind of expanded so we can have in person and still be able to support those who aren't able to come either for family reasons or mobility reasons or any of those things. So that is something that has been main topic of conversation, and we're going to start doing the active planning. And I think we're even getting some support from some other neighboring community councils who have been successfully doing it. So definitely a big priority for us as we try to make sure that we have the capacity to pull that off well.
Great, thanks, Alex. We have a question from Beth. wondering how to prepare neighbors for parking. And I'm assuming that's for the changing parking in our neighborhood as more dense stuff is added to the neighborhood. In addition, how do we keep the park manageable? Beth, are there other pieces to those questions we should try to answer?
Oh, I was just kind of brainstorming, thinking about like events at the park, things like that, like how to prepare when there's an influx of people. Like if there's strategic ways of like either using the school parking lot at the movie night, or like things like that, where like there's just a lot of people already parked on the streets. So I'm just wondering, how will people park trying to get to these events, and then how do we kind of make it less frustrating for the neighborhood and the visitors? So just kind of thinking ahead. And then it's like security. Like I just noticed, I've lived here for 15 years away for a little bit and back, and just seeing sort of, it seems like there's more of a need to be watching at night what's happening. And I'm just thinking, if you bring people in, how do we keep it still feeling like a neighborhood that it's been? So
I think
those are
those are
just my
great.
thoughts.
I think those are great. Let me address the parking one first. We have not, as a board, started to look at that. Although after the Easter egg hunt, which I was not involved with, but my wife and I were walking through the neighborhood and watching it 7 minutes till 10 as we watched 25 cars try to park on 8th near the park. I'm like, wow, this is hilarious, because this is people not being able to find a place to park near the park. So we need to think about that. The security question, if that's something that you're interested in and passionate about, one of the things as a board we're trying to do is make a space for someone like yourself or someone else who has a similar concern to come along and say, look, this is something that I'm interested in. I want to learn more about this, or I want to help craft a solution. So can the board help me find a group of people and give us some tools to help us do this, and then be a voice to help publicize our answers? So if you're interested in that, let me, suggest come forward, help us figure out how to address those issues, and we'll move forward. Because like you, we're all volunteers trying to figure out how to do the best we can. So yeah, there you go. Thank you. And thank you for, coming to our meeting.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good segue, Beth. Peg had a question around neighborhood advocacy, and I think similar answer there too. There's a lot of things that I think this board we've tried to do in the past, and I think what we found last year was there is an upper limit of what a handful of people are able to do. And so in terms of answering kind of the question, like, do we have neighborhood advocacy on a city level? Currently, we do not. Historically, for my time in Seattle, the community councils were connected to the Department of Neighborhoods, and there was a real direct line to the city government that way. Unfortunately, specific mayor, I don't remember the name at this point, but ended that program. So while we do still have some tangential relationships with the Department of Neighborhood where we can contact people kind of ad hoc, we do not have an official relationship. But one of the things we have discussed in the past is stuff like neighborhood advocacy. And really it takes, I think the main thing that it takes is just time and reaching out to people. And Kim talked earlier about talking to someone in the Department of Transportation and finding out about 92nd, which I know that's been a concern and a question from a lot of people. I also drive on that and it's terrible. So similar answer there. If we're interested in doing some more neighborhood advocacy, that's definitely something I'm definitely really interested in doing. Let us know and we can get some stuff started. All right. Looks like we do have Anne here. So welcome, Anne. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Hi. Are you guys ready for me? I'm sorry.
We are ready for you, Anne.
Oh,
Perfect timing.
wonderful. Okay, can you hear me all?
Yes.
Mhm.
And you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, this is all about supporting the Maple Leaf community. You guys, my name is Ann Forrest. I'm the coordinator for the North Seattle hubs. What is a hub? It is, well, first, it's an emergency communication hub. It is all about communication. So we activate, hub volunteers like me and folks in your community activate when communications are down, meaning there's no power, cell phone towers aren't working, or they're overwhelmed. You can't get through on the internet. There's no TV, there's no radio, there's no texting. Communications are down, whether that's a big power outage or a big earthquake, whatever. But when the communications are down, we stand up. So we are emergency communication hubs. A hub is a gathering spot. It's all it is. It's just a spot for the community to organize and help one another until outside help arrives. So we're filling that gap in between a significant event happening and when the city and all the emergency management folks kind of get their feet underneath them and resources arrive and everything gets a little bit better organized. So we are a temporary organization. We only exist when we need to, but we train and we think about this a lot. So there's a natural instinct to gather together if there is a significant disaster. We have this idea that we're all going to stay in our homes and board up the windows and that kind of stuff. And human history says that is not what we do. We do gather together, especially if we don't have any information. If we don't know what's going on, we really want to gather with our neighbors and figure it out. So neighbors will naturally gather in places like parks. Pea patches are really good spots for gathering. Places like parking lots, a lot of parking lots of churches are just kind of known as the place where you go if there's something going on and you're trying to figure out what to do about it. If you want to gather with neighbors, you're looking for a place to do that in. So Maple Leaf has two of those natural gathering spots. The one up north is in the Maple Leaf Community Garden. The one down south is in the Maple Leaf Park. Your park is like fabulous for gathering. You know, folks with kids especially spend tons of time there. So in those two spots in Maple Leaf, there are boxes that look something like this. This is a hub box. When you open it up, it does not have food or water in it. It has supplies for helping the community organize after a disaster when all those communications are down, like I said. So it's tables, whiteboards, there's canopies, there's lots of signs, there's paper, pencil, markers, a megaphone. It's very, very low tech. There are not computers in here. It's very low tech. We go to paper and pencil because we know it works, even if there's no power and all the communications are down. You are very, very lucky in Maple Leaf that a couple neighbors got together, did the legwork to get those two boxes. So they got the permits to put the boxes there. They got the gear. They are pretty much ready to go. And then COVID happened and everybody just kind of lost a lot of steam. So we are looking for another set of neighbors to move this effort forward, to keep Maple Leaf at the front edge of being prepared and being able to respond if, heaven forbid, we ever have a big disaster. And that, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but what happens next, and I know this is really short, but I'm going to be short. If you're at all interested in this, if you're interested in building community around the idea of preparedness, if you like the idea of preparedness, if you just want to know more about it, more about the hubs, or maybe a little bit more about the Maple Leaf hubs, give me a call or send me an email at northseattlehubs@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to meet with you. No obligation. You're not signing your life away just by contacting me, I promise. But give me a call or send me a text, an email, and we could talk much more about the emergency communication hubs, about the two boxes you have, about maybe how to move forward with this idea of helping make sure that Maple Leaf is prepared in case of a disaster. Another thing I want to make everybody on the call aware of is you have the chance to go see the hubs in action. We don't do this all the time. We only activate in the summer when it's really nice outside. Sorry, I'm looking at a check. Okay. And we are doing it really soon. We are doing it June 11th. It's a Sunday, June 11th from 1:30 to 4 in the afternoon. There are 11 locations throughout the Seattle area that are activating. The closest one for Maple Leaf, we got a couple options. Oh, I didn't put the map on here. The map isn't quite finished. I think it's probably going to be well, Ravenna is activating, Laurelhurst is activating, and there's a couple folks in Ballard, a couple places in the Ballard area that are activating. So you've got quite a few options. But anyway, go see this hub in action. It will make so much sense if you can truly see it. And if you want to get 3 or 4 neighbors together and find out more about this hub, man, I am your gal. I will show up at your door and I will explain as simply as I can how the hub system works. It really is super interesting. It's a fascinating subject. I just love it. So contact me if you have any questions. Definitely go see the hubs in action and you will start seeing promotional materials very soon. We just got it. We're about 90% of the way there, trying to get the word out to everyone. Support your community before and during a disaster. Again, there's my contact information. That's the end of my presentation. If I've got time, I'm happy to stick around and answer questions.
And is it possible that we could do a training here like we did a couple of years ago in Maple Leaf Park for the hubs? At some point?
Absolutely. Yeah. So 2 different types of training that I can offer. Because I volunteer with the city, with the Office of Emergency Management as well. So I'm happy to do a household preparedness class. That's a lot of fun. Twin bucket toilets and getting water out of your hot water tank and all that kind of stuff. That's very, very entertaining and very good preparedness stuff. And I'd love to do a follow-on class of how a hub works and just walk people. That's a really simple training. People are less likely to show up for that one, but maybe not. Maybe we get a ton of people. I'm happy to do that.
I'd like to see if we could get our committees, our folks who are working and supporting the hubs actually in a training, so they become, more skilled at it. And it would be great to set up a training with you on household preparedness, because the newsletter is going to have a series of pieces about preparing your community over the next couple of editions. So that's something that's coming up.
Absolutely.
So you and I will be talking about that.
Okay.
Great.
And I have a question. I would love it if you could help me put together kind of the outline of, I need to get volunteers to join this committee. And I'd like to know if you have something already written up in terms of the kind of person or the kind of the skill set that's necessary, if there is a specific skill set necessary.
Yeah, there is nothing you have to know ahead of time. It's very intuitive, and B, pretty much anybody can do it as long as you can, speak English.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you don't need to be a preparedness guru. You don't have to be a prepper. One of the things we did is one of the jobs in the hub is the education officer. And even that person doesn't need any information because we've gone through Google and FEMA websites and CDC and all, we've got decent resources. We've Googled everything we think you're going to need to know, that we're going to need to know after a disaster, and we printed it out. So you don't have to know this stuff. You just need to be able to find it in the book. So we have made this as intuitive as possible. The other thing that all of the hubs have is what's called a quick start guide. So you open up the box, you pull out this small little book that says quick start guide, and it says, number 1, put up the canopies here and here and here. Number 2, put a table underneath each canopy, all that kind of stuff. So it really walks you through how to set up the hub and make it work. Who currently has the keys? To Maple Leaf North, the box up north in the P patch. I have a key, and Jason Beardrill, who's on the call here, he has the other key. I am not quite sure with Maple Leaf South.
I actually know the answer to that. Maple Leaf South isn't a keyed lock.
Is it what?
Combination. It's not a keyed lock. We have a combination for it.
Okay, great.
And it, yeah.
Will there be a table? There is a table in the hub box. Is that what you mean, Kim?
No, you're gonna
No.
be there at our summer social.
Oh,
that-
yes, yeah, it's on my calendar. Yeah, I'm happy to talk about household preparedness or hubs at that table. Yeah.
Great, good, thank you.
Okay.
I know it
Okay.
was a big hit last time we had the summer social. There was a bunch of people coming up to that. So glad to have that again.
That was super
Yeah.
fun, and that was
Yeah.
a great table. Thank you.
That was fun. Okay. I'm gonna back out unless you guys need me for anything.
Thank
you.
you, Ann.
Okay, good luck with your meeting.
All we have left is sort of just kind of breakout spaces for people who have specific questions. Scott, do you want to guide us through that?
Sure. I have 2 breakout rooms set up right now. I have one for summer social and I have one for business. Are there any other topics that folks would be, other than newsletter, because newsletter gets to stay in the main room with me, any other topics that folks would want to talk about in those breakout rooms? TJ, you got anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Scott, I'm willing to volunteer to just kind of take any questions about kind of, I think we have several around like neighborhood improvement, safety, parking. I'm happy to kind of field any of those questions if anyone wants to join me over there, or for any of the other sort of getting involved with some of the stuff that we've talked about tonight. I'm happy to talk about that as well. So you can set me up for that.
Okay, that's our 3rd room. Okay, Johnny, I've got you in business. And I'll open these rooms. Just join whatever room you want to join. If you want to talk about the newsletter, you can stay here in the main room with me. As the host, I get to stay in the main room. And we'll have a little bit of time to talk and answer some questions, get your input, because your input's really important. It's how we know what we should be doing. And we'll go forward from there. And then we'll come back together in about 15 minutes. Matthew, are you staying here with me or are you going to one of the other rooms?
I was gonna stay here with you.
Sweet.
I figured I would learn what I could learn here. Yes.
Hey, Johnny, are you actually here? Matthew, can you jump over to business? Because Johnny apparently isn't actually here. That's not really a surprise because they were having some kid issues. TJ, can you jump over to business?
I can.
Thank you.
Yep.
Stefan, are you going to jump into summer social? And Eric, do you want to stay here with us in the newsletter?
Yeah, I'm curious about it. I haven't been to one of these meetings before, so I'm just kind of feeling it out.
Sweet. Well, what we're doing is just taking some time here to talk about if people have ideas for the newsletter or if somebody wants to help with the newsletter or anything like that. We're about to start the May newsletter here, or June newsletter. We'll get the serious writing and sponsorship development will start happening really soon. And then we're also doing another newsletter in early September. So we'll have another round of writing and sponsorship in September. I know it's an all volunteer thing. All our graphics work is done right back there at Vetty Design. My wife and I share an office back to back all day long, and then we talk to each other in the evenings. But Vetty Design does our graphic work and our layout and stuff. All the board members help with various aspects of the newsletter. And we're trying to work on some themes over the next 2 years. We've actually outlined themes we want to do over the next 2 years. We've got big picture is looking at some of the organizations that are a little quieter in the area who support other members of the community. So in this upcoming June newsletter, we'll be having an article on the Maple Leaf Foundation, which arranges for housing for families with children who are having really severe illnesses and are in care at Children's Hospital. And they find and support below market rate housing for those families while they're here. And a family could be here for as short as a month or as long as a year and a half. That's pretty exciting. There's some other organizations we're going to talk about that, that do good things in the community, and we're going to highlight that. We're also starting a series on what are the tasks you can do to go get to know your neighbors. And this started as a long-term project long ago for my wife and I. We were sitting on our front porch and we realized we only knew 3 people in the houses around us. And on our street, there are 14 houses. So we took it upon ourselves to say, let's meet everyone. So we actually started meeting all the people on our street. And up until the pandemic, we knew everyone, even if we weren't close to them. We knew them, knew names. It was enough that, if somebody needed to move a car, you could come ask somebody to move a car, which is kind of one of those things that makes it a neighborhood. I'm gonna have a couple articles on that, one of which will focus on encouraging people to have National Night Out events in early August, which is, in our neighborhood, one of the coolest things we do, other than the New Year's party. If it's not raining or snowing, or if it's not raining, we bring out 5 fire pits into our street and have a bonfire in the street for New Year's. Start whenever somebody feels like it and finish whenever we feel like it. And we're going to do summer, and we do a national night out as well. And we've had as many as 40 people and all but one of the houses represented at that event. Just encouraging people to do that. Taking time for people to talk about how do you begin the conversation around emergency preparedness with your neighbors, because emergency preparedness is not a household thing, it's a community piece. I grew up in Los Angeles. When there's an earthquake, I can, I like to go, wow, that was, about so big and about so far away. And I grew up in a household where we had 45 days of food and water in the house every day of the year because we had lived through 2 major earthquakes. So talking about how do you begin that process? How do you talk with your neighbors? How do you do those kinds of things? Those are things that'll appear in the next 2 newsletters. And then of course, we're always looking for other things people want to bring to the newsletter and say, hey, here's a cool thing that's happening or something that did happen and we want to talk about it. So Eric, if you're interested in writing, or Stefan, if you're interested in writing or encouraging other people to write, please let me know and we'll move forward and make things happen.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, the National Night Out thing, that's awesome. I live on 90th, just down from the Maple a bit. And I know both those blocks, we both close off the street and there's a number of people. The other one we've just occurred to me, our block also 3-4 years ago, we started blocking the street off for Halloween, getting the and we went from 18 kids to 200 a night. It just word got out and suddenly just everybody was out there, and someone on our street was cooking hot dogs. I would make a whole bunch of different ciders, adult versions and non-adult versions, and so that was another really fun thing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it really took off.
Would you be willing to write a little bit about what your street's done, and we can put it in this newsletter or the next one?
Yeah,
it could be just 250 or 300 words.
If it was I guess, would you want it to be post, or would it be better to be post summer if it's about Halloween? Right.
Well, maybe it could be about Halloween and it could be in the September one, or it could be about just things the block has done to make it a better place for kids.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I could figure out something. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And on that note, I apologize. My 7-year-old son really wants to go see Blanchette play Roosevelt in lacrosse. So I'm going to go take him to the game right now. My nephew, his cousin, plays for Blanchette, so he's like really wants to go. So
that is very important, and that's
yeah.
a lot better than watching football.
Thank you. It's been a fun meeting. I hope you have a great evening. Yeah, let me. I could figure out something, and also because I'm sure some other people on my street probably would have some input or whatnot. Like Mary Rutherford, she's on my street as well. So,
okay, I'll reach out to you next week.
So yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Devin.
Bye.
Woo, that's awesome. Last year we had a really high number of trick-or-treaters. We had 6.
We missed it this year because we were getting married, so we weren't in the neighborhood. But my daughter was watching the house. She said she had about a dozen come through. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
can't complain about that.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to block off the block and have refreshments. I think that's a really cool thing.
That's really cool, and the creativity to say we're going to close the street.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like, one of the things we've done is we've applied for the close the street permit now 3 years in a row for National Night Out. I have never gotten a response from the city.
Really?
But if you go through all the procedures to do it, well, you can block off the street, but you don't have the permit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty sure that there's somebody downtown in an office who looks at our application for this street that should have no traffic. Right.
Yeah.
Our street is technically a dead end. And they're saying, I am not going to process that application because it doesn't matter.
Right. Of all the things they have to worry about that day, it stays right at the bottom of the pile.
Oh yeah, that would be really fun. That'd be good to do.
It would really be fun. Yeah.
I don't think we could pull in extra kids from our street because there's no place to park and we're directly attached to 75th, but it could be good for other things.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it was an awfully good way for us to meet neighbors. We moved in before it happened, so we got a chance to meet the whole street. It was super good for us as newcomers.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Eric, any thoughts?
More generally, I was kind of wondering, how often is there a newsletter?
This year there are 3. There was one in February. There will be one in early June. There'll be one in early September. They get printed this year. They're all printed in the first week of the month, and then they'll be distributed over the next 10 days. This June and September ones will be hand delivered by about 45 volunteers who deliver them to every door in Maple Leaf. Next year, the plan is for 4 starting in January, April, June, and September. Although we may move April to November. We're still wrestling with that. But we'll have 4 next year. And that's kind of, rebuilding the system. Once upon a time, they did 4 a year all the time, delivered 4,200 newsletters at a time. But between pandemic and rebuilding who's managing the newsletter, we're just not there yet. So yeah, that's probably more than you needed to know.
No, that's kind of perfect because I had remembered receiving it before, but I don't remember receiving one recently.
Yeah,
but,
so the one in February was only delivered to businesses for people to pick up because we were concerned about putting it on doorsteps in the rain, and we're finally like, forget it, we're going to put them on doorsteps.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I'm on 98th in the condo building.
Yep. And the condos are, Eric, if one of the things we need is volunteers in condos to deliver to their condo unit because we can't legally go in them.
Okay. Yeah. So that's something I could definitely do.
Yeah, that'd be great. And it's super simple. Either you can come pick up the newsletters from us or we'll deliver them to you or meet somebody somewhere and say, here's the super secret handoff of the newsletter. And then we just ask people to drop them on doors within 10 days. I think it's one of the most fun things I've done. Hey, there you are. Last year I delivered 9 routes.
Was dissolved under Mayor Murray.
And,
Okay.
and I did 9 routes and big routes. I did over 400 newsletters. And it was awesome to meet all these people and to see some place like, wow, there's a street down here. That was a really cool thing. Johnny actually gets the record. He did 25 routes last year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it's a lot. So,
The thing that I've felt is that because I've lived here for a little while now, but going into the pandemic, it just trying to rebuild community and whatnot ever since then, and in the realization that like I don't know a lot of people in the area, but I mean I go to a lot of the places all the time, you know, Cloud City all the time and things like that.
yeah, it's a big challenge because it's like, you know, how do we rebuild this? And like on our street, we've had 4 of the 14 houses change hands during the pandemic. And those are people we don't know as well. Hi, Kim.
Hi. You know, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. Like when were we supposed to come back to the main group?
I'm gonna send a note to folks to come back in about 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, you know, if you're back here, you're welcome to join us in our conversation about newsletters.
Oh, this is newsletter. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm
because
ready
I can't leave the
I'm
main
ready
room.
to end this whole thing, to tell you the truth. So how
All
much
right.
longer is this going on?
When is newsletter going digital?
Never.
What'd you say?
I said, when is newsletter going digital?
We will always have a digital copy on the website, but it will not leave hand distribution as long as I'm the editor, because it is the single best piece of membership. It connects people, and it's just an amazing thing that happens. We actually know most of our neighbors because of the newsletter.
Yeah, I think you were just saying how going down those routes gave you the opportunity to meet all those
Meet a lot of
people
people.
while you're delivering it. Yep.
It's an interesting thing. I notice as I get older that while I'm conversant electronically, I mean, I used to run Zoom meetings for a living. That's all great. And I can do all that stuff, but it's face-to-face connections that actually begin to be where meaningful connections develop in a community. And that literally means knowing the, 17 houses that are directly adjacent to my house. And I don't need to know those people, super well, and they're not the people I invite over on Friday night, but that I know Martha, who lives behind me, well enough for her to come ask me to move my truck if it's in the way, or, hey, I just got a big piece of furniture I got to move. Can you come help me move this piece of furniture? Sure, I can do that. That's one of the things I can do. Or my neighbor next door, they're a young couple. They've been married 7 months. We're trying to install shelves. We don't have tools. Here's my toolbox. Those are face-to-face things we learn. I need to be a Zoom host for just a moment. So I'm going to step off my everything's great soapbox about meeting people and go close Zoom rooms. I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
So I used to do this for Zoom meetings for 300 people. And when you're running the meeting, you always have the participants and in our case, chat's always up. And as you close the rooms, it's fun to watch your participant list repopulate. And then everybody comes onto your screen, and that's always cool.
Okay.
Alex is talking a lot. Alex and Mary are having a really heated conversation.
Can we eavesdrop? Can you record it and let us hear what they're talking about?
The only way we can record it is if Alex was recording. He might be recording separately.
So the break rooms aren't recorded?
Yeah. We have to go to a corporate level to get.
Oh, no, I'm glad, because I didn't want you to hear what we were talking about.
All right. All right.
Good. Okay, good. So, okay.
There's Alex. He's back.
Coming.
All right. We want to know what you were talking about.
We covered a bunch of different topics. topics. We talked about putting pressure on the city to fix 92nd. We talked about parking and kind of infrastructure as more developments go up. We had kind of a background conversation on how we used to be connected to the Department of Neighborhoods and kind of what happened there, and also how we can do more here, but how we can do more of kind of the neighborhood advocacy stuff that we did with like Waldo Woods and Maple Leaf Park, trying to figure out how we can do some more of that stuff in the future. So really good conversations.
That sounds like a great conversation. I wish I'd been part of it. Alex, what else do we need to cover at this meeting?
Memberships. We need people and we need memberships. So definitely go to the website, get signed up. I want to just thank Kim for kind of keeping a lot of that alive. If I remember last year, I came in around this time and was like, guys, we have a new website. It actually is going to be updated. And then it never got updated. So Kim is the lifeblood of that and would not be possible without her. So if you've seen a post or liked a post or any of that, just definitely pass her a thank you, because it's a lot of work and it's definitely really appreciated by the community. I'll stop vamping and just thank you all for coming.
Hey,
Which Facebook page is the one that is actively being used? Because I realize I've like selected several and then I'm like, I don't really know which one to be like watching anymore.
The one that has all the posts on it. There's one that's much more active.
What's it actually called?
It's Maple Leaf CC. Let me just check. I think it's Maple Leaf CC.
I think it actually might be Maple Leaf Community Council.
Okay.
Let's
I'll
see.
pull it up. There were a
It's,
couple up. I know there was a
Because there was one that didn't have anything on it, but then there was like Maple Leaf Life and there's Maple Leaf this and that. So
Maple Leaf Life is an older, I think they're still somewhat active, but like a local publication that's kind of puts out some interest stories. And there is an older page that we just are struggling to get access to. So we're still working on that. But yeah, Kim.
Okay, I just found it, and it's facebook.com/mapleleafcc.
And the name of the page has like the green circle with the white leaf.
Yeah.
It says the full name on that one.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll drop this.
I'll put this in the chat if I can find the chat.
Gotcha. I just dropped it in there, Kim.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you, everyone. I think the only last thing I'll quickly say is the other big thing is volunteers. So I think a lot of the great stuff we talked about, the last thing I think we touched on was like, there's a lot of great stuff we want to do. It just takes time and people. A meeting like this cost us nothing. It just took a lot of people putting time together to do it. And yeah, that's what makes it community. So thank you all.
All right.
What are next steps for getting involved?
Yeah, I believe we have everyone's email, but if you want to directly message us, we can definitely reach out directly to you and just kind of talk. Really, it's about just finding out what you're interested in, and if there's plenty of stuff that is.
Email do we reach out to for that?
hello@mapleleafcommunity.org.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely reach out. There's plenty of
And
stuff
you know what?
that we're doing.
What I'll do is I will post on Facebook and on the website by tomorrow a list of all the committees. So you can read a compilation of them and decide which one you might be interested in joining.
Yeah, and as Scott said earlier, if there's other things people are interested in doing, we're not just stuck to those. Those are things that we think cover the majority of what we can do. And if there's something specific you're interested in, I know around sort of safety, one of the things that has been brought up in the past is not now that it's getting sunlight out until like 9:30 p.m., which is great. But definitely in the winters, as people walk around the park 5, 6 o'clock and it's dark, kind of organizing kind of a park patrol or park walk where there's people out there kind of keeping a presence around there. Like those are small things that we can do as a community that people are interested in doing, but it just takes someone to organize it and kind of help run it. So we'll definitely be in touch.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Good night.